All right, so for today's lesson, our focus was to find the input values when given a function and its output. So our cool down, we have this question given g of x is equal to negative 2x plus 2. We're to solve for x when g of x is equal to 8. So we want to start off by thinking about what are some things we know to be true. Well, we know whatever our function is equal to is our output. So we know that our 2x, negative 2x plus 2 is our output. Based on what we're told, we also know that our output is equal to 8. Now, because we are solving equations, we can use the rule of equality to make things equal. So generally, our function, when we think about our function notation, f of x is equal to y, which is our output, and our output is equal to 8 in this case. So what we do is we're going to set our output value equal to 8. So we will start off by saying negative 2x plus 2 is equal to 8. For here, we're going to apply the rules of solving equations. So we know when we're solving equations, we have to use inverse operations. So we know that we will solve for x when the x is by itself. So we want to apply the rules for solving equation by getting that x by itself. So the first thing we have to do is we have to do the inverse of adding 2, which is subtracting 2. And for an equation, anything you do on one side of the equation must be done on the other side. So that's what makes it an equation. So we subtract 2 from the left side, we're subtracting 2 from the right side as well. Those cancel out and that will become a 0. So we have negative 2x on the left side is equal to, if we take 2 from 8, that is 6. Remember, our aim is to get that x by itself. It's not by itself yet. We have a negative 2 attached to it. So how do we remove or get rid of that negative 2? We have to think about inverse operations. So what does negative 2x means? That means negative 2 times x. What is the inverse of multiplication? That is division. So in order to remove that negative 2, we're going to have to divide by negative 2 on both sides. So we're going to divide by negative 2. Anything you do on one side of an equation must be done on the other side of the equation as well. So that cancels. 2 divided by 2, it's 1. So we're left with just 1x. So x is equal to, again, we have some rules that we have to consider. A positive divided by a negative will give a negative result. So we end up with a negative 3. So it means that our x value would be negative 3. So what that would mean in this case is that, or when our input value is negative 3, our output value is 8. So when our input is negative 3, our output is 8. And you could always check that back. There is always a check step. So if we do g of negative 3, that would mean we are replacing that x with negative 3, adding 2 to that. So when we multiply, a negative times a negative gives a positive result. So that's a positive 6 plus 2. What we realize is that g of negative 3 is going to be equal to 8. So that is one way you can check your result. Hope that was helpful.